You don't need more time. Let that sink in. You don't need longer days. You don't need better luck. You don't need permission. You already have the same 24 hours that built empires, and the same 24 hours that destroyed them. Every breakthrough you admire, every life you envy, every level you think is out of reach, all of it happened inside the same clock you're living in right now. So the question is no longer how much time do you have. The question is how are you using it, and who taught you how? Because nobody ever taught you how to think about time. They taught you how to survive it. They taught you how to fill it. They taught you how to waste it without noticing, and that's the real tragedy. Not that time is short, but that most people never wake up inside it. Welcome to Use Your 24 Hours Like a Genius. This audiobook is not about productivity hacks. It's not about cramming more tasks into your day. And it's definitely not about living faster. It's about living deliberately. It's about learning how high performers, creators, leaders, and builders use the same 24 hours differently. Not by doing more, but by doing what matters on purpose. Because geniuses don't rush. They design. And once you understand that, time stops being your enemy and becomes your greatest advantage. Most people wake up already behind. Behind on messages. Behind on expectations. Behind on a life they don't remember choosing. They reach for their phone before they reach for their mind. They react before they decide. They let the world set the agenda, then wonder why they feel exhausted by noon. Sound familiar? That's not laziness. That's conditioning. You were trained to treat time like something that happens to you, instead of something you command. And the cost of that misunderstanding is enormous. It shows up as constant stress, as scattered focus, as days that feel busy but empty. You do a lot, yet move nowhere. This audiobook exists to break that pattern, to help you see time not as hours and minutes, but as energy, attention, and leverage. Because the truth is brutal, but freeing. Time doesn't reward effort. Time rewards alignment. You can work all day and still lose. You can move non-stop and still fall behind. You can stay busy your entire life and never build anything that lasts. Geniuses understand this early. They don't ask, what do I need to do today? They ask, what deserves my best hours? And that single question changes everything. Let's slow this down. Right now, somewhere in the world, someone with fewer resources than you, less talent than you, and fewer opportunities than you, is building a life you secretly want. Not because they hustle harder, not because they sleep less, but because they protect their time like it's sacred. They understand something most people never do. Your calendar is not a schedule. It's a mirror. It reflects your values, your fears, your priorities, your self-respect. Look at how you spend your hours, and you'll know exactly where your life is headed. That's uncomfortable, but it's powerful. Because once you see it clearly, you can change it deliberately. In this audiobook, you'll learn how to stop bleeding time without realizing it, how to identify the hours that actually create results, how to structure your days so progress becomes inevitable, how to think in systems instead of tasks, and how to turn ordinary days into compounding advantage, not through pressure, not through guilt, but through clarity. Because clarity is what geniuses really have. They know when to say no. They know when to slow down. They know when to go all in. And most importantly, they know that every hour spent unconsciously is an hour they never get back. So here's your first pause. Ask yourself, honestly, do I control my time, or does my time control me? Am I designing my days, or reacting to them? Am I using my best energy for my best work, or giving it away to distractions that won't matter in a year? No judgment, no shame, just awareness, because awareness is where genius begins. And now, we're going to expose the biggest lie you've ever been told about time, a lie that keeps millions of capable people stuck in motion without progress. Once you see it, you'll never look at your 24 hours the same way again. Chapter 2. The biggest lie you've been told about time. The lie sounds harmless, responsible, even smart. It says, I'll focus on what matters when I have more time. And almost everyone believes it. They say it when work calms down. They say it when things get easier. They say it when life finally gives them space. But that moment never comes. Because here's the truth most people never face. You don't find time. You decide. Time does not appear when conditions improve. It doesn't show up after stress disappears. It doesn't wait for motivation, confidence, or clarity. Time only responds to priorities. And if something isn't a priority, your schedule will expose it. Every single day. This is where people get trapped. They confuse busyness with importance. They confuse movement with progress. They confuse full days with meaningful days. And then they wonder why years pass without the life they imagined. Let's dismantle the lie completely. You were told that successful people have more time. They don't. They have stronger boundaries. They don't magically receive extra hours. They defend the hours they already have. They understand something uncomfortable but freeing. Every yes is a no to something else. Every meeting, every notification, every favor, every distraction disguised as urgent. All of it costs you time. And time is not neutral. It either compounds or it disappears. There is no middle ground. Think about this. If you truly waited until life was calm, you would never start. Because calm is not a phase, it's a skill. Geniuses don't wait for calm. They create it through structure. They decide in advance what deserves their best hours, what gets average energy, what gets eliminated entirely. They don't negotiate with distractions. They don't argue with their calendar. They don't rely on motivation. They engineer their days, and that's why they look disciplined when they're really just intentional. Here's another lie you were told. If I stay busy, I'm being productive. Busy is easy. Anyone can fill a day. Anyone can answer messages. Anyone can attend meetings, scroll feeds, and react to requests. But productivity is not about volume. It's about leverage. One focused hour on the right task can outperform 10 distracted hours on the wrong ones. Yet most people never experience that power because they never protect uninterrupted time. They let interruptions define their rhythm. They let urgency dictate importance. They let other people's priorities shape their days. And slowly, without noticing, they give away their life 1 hour at a time. Let's be brutally honest. Your phone is not stealing your time. Your inability to decide what matters most is. Your inbox is not the problem. Your calendar is not the enemy. Your workload is not the villain. The real issue is default living, waking up without a plan, responding instead of leading, ending the day tired but unsure why. That's not a time issue. That's a clarity issue. High performers live differently. They understand this rule. If you don't choose how your time is spent, the world will choose for you. And the world will always choose convenience over purpose. That's why this audiobook is not about doing more. It's about doing less. With precision. Cutting noise. Eliminating friction. Designing days that move you forward even when motivation fades. Because motivation is unreliable. Structure is not. Here's your second pause. Ask yourself, what am I doing every day that feels urgent but produces nothing meaningful? What am I postponing that would actually change my life if I gave it my best hours? And most importantly, if my next 30 days looked exactly like my last 30 days, where would my life be headed? Sit with that. Because now, we're going to talk about the hidden cost of distractions. The silent tax on your time that no one warns you about until it's already taken years from you. And once you see it clearly, you'll understand why geniuses don't fight distractions. They design them out. Chapter 3. The hidden tax on your time. There is a silent thief stealing from you every day. It doesn't break in. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't feel dangerous. In fact, it feels normal, comfortable, even harmless. But by the end of your life, this thief will have taken years from you. Its name is distraction. And most people don't lose their dreams in one dramatic moment. They lose them in fragments. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, a quick check, a small break. One more scroll. None of it feels costly in the moment. That's why it works. Here's what no one tells you. Distraction doesn't just steal time, it destroys depth. Every time you switch tasks, your brain pays a price. Focus doesn't turn on instantly like a light switch. It's more like momentum, and every interruption resets that momentum back to zero. So when you say, "I worked all day," but feel like nothing meaningful moved forward, it's because your attention was fragmented. Shallow effort, scattered thinking, broken concentration. You were present everywhere, and fully focused nowhere. Geniuses understand this. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your attention, not your intelligence, not your talent, not even your work ethic. Attention is the gatekeeper. What you allow into your mind shapes what comes out of it, and modern life is engineered to hijack that gate. Notifications, feeds, endless updates, artificial urgency, all of it designed to keep you reactive, because reactive people are predictable, and predictable people are controllable. Think about this honestly. When was the last time you worked on something important for 1 full hour without checking your phone? No notifications, no switching tabs, no background noise pulling your mind away. For many people, that question is uncomfortable, not because they're lazy, but because they've been trained to fragment their focus. And training can be undone. Distraction is not a personal failure. It's an environmental problem. You're not weak. You're overstimulated. But geniuses don't complain about the environment. They redesign it. They remove friction between themselves and deep work. And they add friction between themselves and distraction. They don't rely on willpower, because willpower is finite. They rely on systems. Here's a powerful truth. If something is easy to access, you'll overuse it. If something requires effort, you'll use it intentionally. That's why high performers silence notifications by default, batch communication instead of constant checking, protect specific hours for deep, uninterrupted focus. Treat attention like a non-renewable resource. They don't ask, "What do I feel like doing right now?" They ask, "What deserves my best attention today?" And then they build their environment around that answer. Let's pause again. Ask yourself, what distractions do I tolerate daily that quietly drain my energy? What would happen if I remove just one for the next 7 days? Not forever, just long enough to feel the difference. Because once you experience real focus, deep, immersive, uninterrupted work, you'll never confuse busyness with progress again. Now, we're going to talk about time leverage. How geniuses use the same 24 hours as everyone else but extract exponentially more value from them. Not by working harder, not by grinding longer, but by placing their effort where it multiplies instead of evaporates. And once you see that principle, you'll realize something powerful. You don't need more time. You need better placement of attention. Chapter 4. Time Leverage. How geniuses multiply hours. Most people think productivity means doing more tasks, more effort, more hours. That belief keeps them trapped. Because geniuses don't win by doing more. They win by doing what matters most, first. This is the secret of time leverage. Every action you take has a different return. Some tasks move your life forward by inches. Others move it forward by miles. But here's the danger. Low-impact tasks feel productive. They give quick feedback. They create motion. High-impact tasks feel uncomfortable. They require thinking. They demand focus. They don't always give instant rewards. So most people avoid them, and then they wonder why their days feel full but their lives stay the same. Let's say this clearly. Not all hours are equal. 1 hour of shallow activity can disappear without a trace. 1 hour of deep strategic work can change the direction of your entire future. The difference isn't time, it's leverage. Geniuses ask a different question every morning. Not, "What do I need to get done today?" But, "If I could only do one thing today, what would make everything else easier or unnecessary?" That question forces clarity. It cuts through noise. It exposes priorities. It reveals leverage. And leverage is how you turn 24 hours into exponential results. Think about your own life. There are a few actions, not many, that create most of your progress. Learning a key skill, building a critical relationship, creating something that compounds, making a hard decision you've been avoiding. These actions don't repeat daily. They elevate your future. Yet they're often postponed because they don't scream for attention. Urgent things shout, important things whisper, geniuses listen to whispers. Here's a powerful rule. Do your highest leverage work when your energy is highest. Not after emails, not after meetings, not after scrolling. At the beginning of your day, when your mind is sharp and your willpower is intact. This is why morning routines matter, not because of rituals, but because of priority placement. If you give your best energy to low-value tasks, your high-value goals get leftovers, and leftovers don't build greatness. Let's talk about a dangerous habit. Starting the day reactively, checking messages, responding to requests, consuming before creating. The moment you do that, you hand control of your day to other people's priorities. You become responsive instead of strategic. Busy, but not powerful. Geniuses flip this order. They create before they consume. They decide before they react. They move their future forward before maintaining the present. Try this tomorrow. Before touching your phone, ask yourself, what single action today would make this day a win, even if nothing else gets done? Then protect one uninterrupted block of time to work on that. No notifications, no multitasking, no compromise, just you, and the work that matters most. This isn't about perfection, it's about direction. When you consistently place your best hours on your best opportunities, life begins to accelerate. Momentum builds, confidence grows, clarity sharpens, and suddenly you're not racing time anymore. Time starts working for you. Now, we'll break down energy management because time without energy is useless. You can have a perfect schedule and still feel exhausted, scattered, and stuck. Geniuses don't just manage hours. They manage states. And once you learn how to control your energy, your 24 hours will never feel small again. Chapter 5. Energy is the real currency. Time is not your biggest limitation. Energy is. You can have a perfectly planned day, a beautiful schedule, clear goals written in bold letters, and still accomplish almost nothing if your energy is scattered, drained, or mismanaged. This is where most people fail. They try to control time without learning how to control themselves. Geniuses understand something deeper. Energy creates time. When your energy is high, 1 hour feels like 3. When your energy is low, 10 hours disappear without results. Let's be honest. You don't feel tired because you do too much. You feel tired because you do the wrong things at the wrong times with the wrong mental state. Mental exhaustion comes from friction, from forcing focus when your mind needs rest, from doing shallow work when your soul wants meaning, from saying yes when your energy is screaming no. Here's a truth most people avoid. Your body and mind operate in rhythms. You are not meant to be on all day. Energy rises, energy falls. Geniuses don't fight these cycles. They design around them. There are 3 core energy states you must master. Focus energy. This is for thinking, creating, solving problems, and building your future. Execution energy. This is for action, repetition, and follow-through. Recovery energy. This is for rest, reflection, and renewal. Most people mix them all together. They try to think deeply while distracted. They try to execute while mentally exhausted. They try to relax while mentally guilty. The result? Burnout without progress. High performers separate these states. They schedule focus, they batch execution, they respect recovery. And here's the key. They don't feel guilty for resting, because they know rest is strategic, not lazy. Let's talk about focus energy. This is your most valuable asset, and it is fragile. Every notification steals it. Every multitask fractures it. Every unnecessary decision drains it. You don't lose focus all at once. You lose it in pieces. That's why geniuses simplify their environment. Same morning routine, same decision rules, same work blocks, less choice, more clarity. Now execution energy. This is where momentum lives. Once a decision is made, don't rethink it. Act. Overthinking kills execution energy faster than fatigue. Decide once, execute many times. That's how habits are built. And finally, recovery. Most people treat rest as a reward. Geniuses treat it as maintenance. You don't wait until your car breaks to change the oil. You don't wait until your body collapses to recover. Short walks, quiet moments, intentional pauses. These are not wasted time. They reset your nervous system and sharpen your mind. Here's a simple rule to remember. Protect your mornings. Defend your focus. Respect your energy. If you do this consistently, your days will stop feeling chaotic. You'll feel calm, even when busy. Clear, even when challenged. Powerful, even with limited hours. But energy alone is not enough. Because even with high energy, most people still waste time. Why? Because they don't eliminate distractions. Now, we'll expose the silent thieves of your 24 hours. The habits, inputs, and behaviors that quietly steal your life without you noticing. Once you remove them, your time will finally feel yours. Chapter 6. The silent thieves of your 24 hours. You don't lose your life in dramatic moments. You lose it quietly, minute by minute. Scroll by scroll, distraction by distraction. The most dangerous enemies of your time don't announce themselves. They blend in. They feel harmless. They feel normal. They feel deserved, and that's why they win. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't lack time. They leak it. They wake up already distracted. They check messages before checking their direction. They react before they decide. And by the end of the day, they say, "I don't know where the time went." But time didn't disappear. It was stolen. Let's expose the first thief. Uncontrolled input. Your mind is not designed to consume endlessly. Every piece of information you consume demands processing power. News, social media, messages, opinions, drama. Most of it has nothing to do with your goals. Yet it drains the same mental fuel you need to build your future. Geniuses are ruthless with input. They ask one question before consuming anything. Does this help me become who I'm trying to be? If the answer is no, they let it go without guilt. The second thief is context switching. Starting, stopping, starting again. Every time you switch tasks, your brain pays a tax. Focus doesn't turn on like a light switch. It warms up, and most people never stay long enough to reach real depth. They live in the shallow end of effort. Busy, but ineffective. Geniuses batch. One task, one block, one purpose. They go deep, then they move on. The third thief is emotional distraction, worry, regret, comparison, resentment. These don't just affect your mood, they hijack your attention. You can sit at your desk for hours while your mind is stuck in a conversation from yesterday or a fear about tomorrow. Your body is present. Your mind is absent. That is time theft. Here's the solution most people ignore. Mental boundaries. Just like you lock your doors, you must lock your attention. Not everything deserves access to your mind. Not every thought needs to be entertained. Geniuses notice a thought, then choose whether to engage. They don't wrestle with distractions. They redirect again and again and again. The fourth thief is false urgency. Everything feels important. Everything feels immediate. But urgency is often an illusion. Emails can wait. Notifications can wait. Most requests can wait. Your priorities cannot. If you don't decide what matters most, the world will decide for you, and it will choose noise over meaning. Here's a powerful rule. If everything is urgent, nothing is important. Geniuses decide their top priorities in advance. So when distractions appear, the decision is already made. No debate. No hesitation, just clarity. And finally, the most dangerous thief of all, comfort disguised as rest. Endless scrolling is not recovery. Binge watching is not restoration. Escapism is not rest. It numbs you, but it doesn't renew you. Real recovery gives you energy back. It makes you sharper, calmer, more present. Geniuses rest with intention. They don't escape their lives, they recharge for them. When you eliminate these thieves, something incredible happens. Time slows down. Your days feel fuller, not busier. Your mind feels lighter, not overwhelmed. And you realize something powerful. You don't need more hours. You need fewer leaks. Now, we'll build the Genius Daily Framework, a simple structure that turns ordinary days into focused, high-impact days without burnout. This is where everything comes together. Chapter 7. The Genius Daily Framework. If you wake up without a plan, you don't own your day. Your day owns you. Geniuses don't rely on motivation, they rely on structure. Because structure turns intention into action, even when energy is low and distractions are loud. This chapter is about building a simple, repeatable framework that transforms your 24 hours into focused progress. Not hustle, not burnout, progress. Here's the truth most people avoid. Your day doesn't fail randomly. It fails by design. Or more accurately, by lack of design. When everything is optional, nothing gets done consistently. So let's fix that. The Genius Daily Framework has 4 core phases. Not complicated, not rigid, but powerful. Phase 1. The anchor, morning direction. Your morning sets the tone for everything. Not because of productivity hacks, but because your brain is most suggestible in the first hour after waking. Geniuses don't start the day consuming, they start deciding. Before the world speaks to them, they speak to themselves. One question: what would make today a win? Not 10 things, not a massive list. 1 to 3 meaningful outcomes, that's it. This becomes your anchor. No matter what happens later, your day revolves around these priorities. Phase 2. Deep focus blocks. Creation before consumption. The most valuable work requires depth, and depth requires protection. Geniuses schedule their hardest thinking before distractions take over. No notifications, no multitasking, no background noise. Just one task, one objective, one block of time. Even 60 to 90 minutes of true focus beats 8 hours of scattered effort. This is where results are born. Phase 3. Controlled reactivity. The world gets access. Here's where most people fail. They react all day long. Emails, messages, requests, problems. Geniuses batch reaction. They choose specific windows to respond to the world. This prevents constant interruption and protects mental clarity. You don't owe instant access to anyone. You owe results to yourself. Phase 4. Shut down and reset. Protect tomorrow. Most people end their day exhausted, mentally scattered. Geniuses end with closure. They review what worked, what didn't, what matters tomorrow. Then they shut the day down. No mental carryover, no unresolved loops. This creates calm, and calm creates clarity. Here's the key insight. Time management is not about doing more. It's about deciding better. When decisions are made in advance, discipline becomes automatic. But structure alone isn't enough. Because even with the perfect system, your energy determines execution. That's why the next chapter is critical. We're going to talk about energy management, how geniuses align sleep, focus, recovery, and momentum to make their 24 hours feel powerful instead of draining. This is where time stops feeling scarce and starts feeling intentional. Chapter 8. Energy is the real currency. Time is not your biggest limitation. Energy is. You can have a perfectly planned day and still waste it if your energy is depleted. Geniuses understand something most people ignore. Time is fixed. Energy is flexible. And the way you manage your energy determines how powerful your 24 hours feel. Let's be clear about something uncomfortable. Most people aren't tired because they do too much. They're tired because they do too many wrong things at the wrong times with no recovery. Mental exhaustion isn't caused by effort alone. It's caused by friction, constant task switching, emotional reactivity, decision overload, unresolved stress. Geniuses eliminate friction first. The Genius Energy Principle. High performers don't push harder. They align better. They align. Focus with peak energy, rest with recovery needs, effort with purpose. They don't fight their biology. They use it. Your daily energy rhythm. Your energy follows a predictable pattern. You don't need to be a scientist to use this. You just need awareness. Most people experience a mental peak earlier in the day, a dip midday, a smaller rebound. Later geniuses place thinking work during peak energy. They place routine tasks during low energy periods. They don't force deep work when the brain wants rest. That's not discipline, that's self-sabotage. Sleep is not optional. Here's the brutal truth. If you're sleep deprived, your time management doesn't matter. Your focus collapses. Your decision-making weakens. Your discipline disappears. Geniuses treat sleep as a productivity tool, not a luxury. They protect it fiercely, because sleep isn't rest from life. It's preparation for it. Recovery is part of productivity. Most people feel guilty for resting. Geniuses schedule it. They understand this rule. You don't recharge by stopping. You recharge by recovering intentionally. Short walks, silence, breathing, stillness. These are not wastes of time. They are resets for clarity. Momentum. Beats motivation. Energy builds when progress feels real. That's why geniuses break goals into visible wins. Small completions, clear checkpoints, immediate feedback. Progress fuels energy. Stagnation drains it. Here's the shift you must make. Stop asking, do I have time? Start asking, do I have the energy, and how do I protect it? Because when your energy is aligned, your 24 hours expand. And when your energy is drained, even free time feels heavy. Now, we'll address the most dangerous enemy of your time. Distraction. Not just external distractions, but internal ones. Because mastering your 24 hours requires mastering your attention. And attention is where geniuses separate themselves from everyone else. Chapter 9. Attention is your superpower. You don't lose time. You lose attention, and wherever your attention goes, your life follows. Most people think distraction is external. Notifications, noise, other people. But the most dangerous distractions are internal. Wandering thoughts, unfinished worries, emotional reactions, mental clutter. Geniuses don't just manage schedules, they train attention. The attention economy. Right now, everything is competing for your focus. Apps are designed to pull you in. Media is designed to keep you scrolling. Urgency is manufactured everywhere. If you don't consciously choose what deserves your attention, someone else will choose for you, and they will profit from it, while you lose hours of your life. Focus is a muscle. Attention is not a personality trait. It's a skill. And like any skill, it strengthens with training and weakens with neglect. Every time you check your phone impulsively, switch tasks mid-focus, let your mind wander unchecked, you weaken your ability to concentrate. Every time you stay with one task, resist distraction, bring your mind back gently, you strengthen it. Geniuses train attention daily, not occasionally. Single tasking is the genius advantage. Multitasking feels productive. It's not. It fractures your focus and drains mental energy. Geniuses do one thing at a time, fully. They don't half work while half scrolling, while half thinking about something else. They give full presence to the task in front of them. That's why their output looks effortless. The power of deep work. Windows. High performers block time for uninterrupted focus. No notifications, no interruptions, no divided attention. Even 60-90 minutes of deep focus can outperform an entire distracted day. You don't need more hours, you need higher quality hours. Mental noise is the hidden enemy. Unfinished thoughts steal focus. That's why geniuses externalize their minds. They write things down, tasks, ideas, concerns. A clear mind focuses better than a crowded one. Your brain is for thinking, not for storing everything. Discipline creates freedom. This is the paradox. The more boundaries you set around your attention, the freer you feel. No phone during focus blocks, no reactive mornings, no endless consumption. Boundaries protect your genius. Here's the truth most people never accept. You don't need more motivation, you need fewer distractions. When attention is mastered, time feels abundant. And when attention is scattered, even free time feels empty. In the final chapter, we'll bring everything together. Not tactics, not systems, but a genius identity shift. Because using your 24 hours like a genius is not about doing more. It's about becoming someone who naturally uses time wisely. Chapter 10. Become the person who uses time like a genius. This is where everything changes. Because time mastery is not a technique, it's an identity. You don't use your 24 hours like a genius by copying routines or downloading planners or watching productivity videos. You do it by becoming someone who naturally respects time. The identity shift. Most people ask, what should I do with my time? Geniuses ask, who must I become so my time works for me? When your identity changes, behavior follows effortlessly. You stop forcing discipline, because discipline becomes natural. Genius is not speed. It's direction. A genius doesn't rush. A genius chooses direction carefully and then moves consistently. You don't need to fill every hour. You need to align your hours. A few focused actions, repeated daily, compound into extraordinary results. Your days are votes. Every day is a vote. A vote for the person you are becoming. Every choice says, I am someone who protects focus. I am someone who values growth. I am someone who respects my time, or it says the opposite. No single day defines you, but patterns do. The calm genius advantage. Geniuses are not frantic. They are calm. Calm is not laziness. Calm is control. When you control your mind, your emotions, and your attention, time bends in your favor. Less, but better. This is the final truth. You don't need to do more. You need to do less, but better. Less distraction, less noise, less urgency, more clarity, more focus, more intention. That's how 24 hours become powerful. Your 24 hours start again tomorrow. When you wake up tomorrow, you get another 24 hours. Not more, not less. The same as geniuses, the same as legends, the same as history makers. The difference is not time. The difference is how it's used. Final question. Will you spend your hours reacting, or will you spend them creating? Because once you understand this, time doesn't change lives. People change lives by how they use time. If this audiobook resonated with you, share the moment that hit hardest. And ask yourself one final question. What kind of person will I be tomorrow with my 24 hours? This is not the end. This is the beginning. Use your 24 hours like a genius.